What's happening, guys? William Craddock, better known as Will2Win, here for my first video with Millennial TCG, an up-and-coming professional Riftbound group, hopefully. We've been playing skirmishes this past weekend. James won 2, I won 1. He's working on Kaiza, so if you haven't seen his Kaiza win video, go and check it out. Today I have my Master Yi video. I'll be going in depth on specific matchups for the popular decks such as Annie, Kaiza, Sett, Misfortune Aurora, and also just an overall guide on the deck and how I play it to maximize the amount of wins you get in a tournament. Because let's face it, a round one bye is important, and we will be at Vegas and Bologna. So yeah, we'll see you there. Let's get this started. All right, let's start off talking about the deck list. We have our legend. While friendly unit defends alone, it gets +2. Seems pretty basic at first, but very strong in a game of Riftbound once you try it. Our chosen champion, Master Yi Honed. 7 for 6, ganking, enters ready. Things that enter ready in this game are pretty strong. And at 6 might for 7, and he only costs 1 power. This is one of your best units in the deck. But since we get to start with it as our chosen champion, you only have to play 1. 3 charmed, probably the best removal spell in the game, or close to it. 1 for 1 power, move a unit, which in Master Yi generally means 1 for 1 power, kill an enemy unit. Defy, cheap interaction, 1 for 1 power, counters a lot of things, Void Seeker, Smokescreen, and can generally just be used to keep your guys alive. Find Your Center, not my favorite card, but necessary evil, so you can hit the correct breakpoints. You can go from 2 to 4 to 7, which enables you to play a Master Yi Honed if you have to, or a Tasty Faithful. Just getting out a big body on 3 is where you want to be. Discipline, 2 for +2 might, replaces itself by drawing a card, just generically good. On guard, 1 for +1 might, or if it's alone, +2. In Master Yi, you want things to generally be alone, so 1 for 2 is a pretty good exchange. Just doesn't draw a card like the Discipline. Catalyst of Aeons, probably the most important card in the deck. Go from 4 runes to 6 to 8. Allows you to accelerate a Tasty Faithful, play a Dead Bloom Predator if you have to. Just the card you want to see, always mulligan for the Catalyst. You have some units here. The Clockwork Keeper. As a 2-of, he's not my favorite 2-drop. You can't play him on. You don't want to play him on turn 2. In the late game, he basically just cycles himself for a power. So not a great card, but I think just a necessary evil in Master Yi. We have the Stalwart Poro, 2 for 2 on the front. But when he's defending by himself, he's 2 for 5, which makes him an incredible threat in the Master Yi deck. Can hold for 2 to 3 points by himself with a little protection, and people are always scared to push into it. White Flame Protector, he is basically there to help you push into points. If you haven't got a good draw, you've gotten slow, you can use him to push into a point, and once you do, you can hold, and you have a 8 might unit to help push the other point. Tasty Faithful, my favorite card in the deck. 7 for 6 might, accelerates, so he can get into a point for 8 and 1 power. And if he dies, you get 2 runes back, and he replaces himself with a card. So just overall, very strong. Dead Bloom Predator, I never want to play this on exactly 8 if I don't have to. I'd rather play a Faithful or my Master Yi if I can. Simply because he cannot always go to battlefield directly. There has to be an enemy there. So if you can use it, you want to get him down early. He's also a 10 if he's by himself, so he's pretty hard to kill with the Deflect to back him up. We have Kiana, not my favorite card, but again, necessary evil. If you don't have your Catalyst, you don't have a Finder Center, you have Kiana, can draw you a card, channel a rune, kind of a jack of all trades, has Deflect, which is important in certain matchups, but utterly useless in others. Overall, an okay unit, the best of what it does. Then we have Pit Rookie, which is my favorite 2-drop. He buffs your Tasty Faithful and your Master Yi to a 7, which is an important breakpoint against things like Kaiza. Or he just makes your Dead Bloom Predator a 9, which is an 11 on defense by himself. Massive. We have Zanya's Hourglass, works well with the big guys. Keeps them protected. You hide it, decide when you want to use it. But if you hold that point forever, you can decide which guy to save when they try to kill one of your guys. We have our even split on the runes. As far as our battlefields go, our game 1 almost exclusively Vile Mausoleer. I've never used anything else in game 1. If I win game 1, so I think I'm going second game 2, I'll pick the Obelisk of Power. This way that enables me to play things like Kiana or Catalyst of Aeons on the first turn because I'll have 4 runes. And then if I'm going first in game 2, aka I lost, I like the Targon's Peak. Allows me to play things like the Master Yi Honed or Accelerated Faithful early and untap 2 runes so I can protect it if I need to. Sideboard, Sabotage, White Flame, Rune Prison, Windwall. And we'll go into these cards a little more in depth when we talk about specific matchups. But that's the overall guide, and yeah, let's get into the matchup. Alright, the first matchup we're going to talk about is Kai'Sa. Our starting battlefield is always going to be Vile Mausoleer for Kai'Sa. In game 1, going first or second, the plan is really kind of the same. Going first, we want to look for our Stalwart Poros. I generally will not keep a Clockwork Keeper as my only 2-drop, simply because I don't think it's good enough, and I'd rather dig for a Catalyst or a Kiana or even a Find Your Center. You know, if my hand was like Clockwork Keeper, Tasty Faithful, Deadbloom Predator, and another big guy White Flame, I'm still going to get rid of the Clockwork Keeper and probably the White Flame and just look for ramp. I just think these are too important, and this just doesn't do enough. The early points don't matter as much. But I will keep a Shield Poro because it holds a point a lot better than itself. Obviously, it detects Tech Ray, I know. But it can hold a point by itself for a long time if you pair it with like an On Guard or a Discipline. But I wouldn't do that if it didn't allow me to play Catalyst or Kiana. As far as that goes, Zanya's is important. Tasty Faithful, Deadbloom, all your big guys are important. Defy is really good. You can use it to counter Void Seeker, Smokescreen, Retreats if they're trying to save an important unit. Charm is good. It kills their Kai'Sa backline, draw card. Busted guy, kills their Darius if they left it at home because they were scared. Or even if they put it somewhere else. Like sometimes they'll play a Watcher to their bench, not accelerated, try to set up a second Watcher turn. You can just shoot that into anything like Tasty Faithfolk or Master Yi. And it eats it because it's 8-7. As far as sideboarding is concerned, it changes depending if we go first or second. So if we lose game 1 and we know we're going first in game 2, I'm going to bring in Targon's Peak. I'm not going to do much sideboarding here. I'm going to take out the Clockwork Keepers and a Pit Rookie and a White Flame Protector. And I'm going to bring in 3 Rune Prisons and a Windwall. The reason is I don't like having Sabotage going second. Going first. I don't want to use that power. I usually don't have time to use that power. And going first, I can still have the chance to play like Stalwart Poro and hold a point for 2 or 3 points. Now, on the game where we're going second, meaning we won, and they're probably going to put us going second, that completely changes. We're going to have our Obelisk of Power, and we're going to be on 4 runes on that game unless they choose to make us going first. But that's a whole other thing. So if we think we're going to be on 4 power, we take out Stalwart Poros, Clockwork Keeper, and a Pit Rookie, and bring in 3 Sabotages, 2 Rune Prisons, and a Windwall. So it kind of just changes what you're wanting to do depending on if you're going first, you're going second. Yi kind of morphs a little bit in that way. There are things, like I said, your opponent can see the Obelisk and make you go first. And in that case, you're obviously looking for something like the Find Your Center, so you can ramp on turn 1. Or even a catalyst, so you can go from 6, so we go to 5 to 7 to 9, so you can drop Deadbloom, Tasty Faithfolk, and back it up with a Defy, or an On Guard, or even kill something with a Charm. So the game plan is the same. Ideally, though, if they're putting you going second with Obelisk, because you just play turn 1 Kiana or Catalyst and just beat the shit out of them. Like this turn 1, if you have both of these, depending on your hand, if you don't have a fat drop, just play Kiana. If you do have a fat drop, still just play Catalyst. Because as much as this card sucks after that turn 1, these are that much better on turn 2. Like Accelerating a Faithfolk on turn 2 is just, even if they kill it, 2 runes, draw a card, so good. Anyway, that's the Kai'Sa matchup in a nutshell. The only thing you really have to watch for is Thousand Tail Watcher. And, you know, a lot of your guys, like the Deadbloom Predator defends it by himself, or trades with it by himself. The Faithfolk, Yi, gonna need a pump spell. But that's really the only card you have to watch for. Otherwise, the matchup's pretty straightforward. Zanya's protect your big guys, play big guys, and hold points till you win. The second matchup we're going to go on is Annie. Annie is interesting, like, because they say, oh, Yi's so tough, and Yi says, oh, well, Annie can just kill us before we do anything. Both people are correct. For Annie, we want something early. We want that early Stalwart Poro, that early Clockwork Keeper, Pit Rookie. Just because game one, they almost always play Zon Warrens, and we want to move into Zon Warrens as quickly as possible to keep them from abusing the scrap heap. And the thing is, if it's game one, the other base is going to be Valmal's Lair, and this is terrible for them. They move their early guy, their merchant of Valmal's Lair. It can't get out. It's stuck. And we could just wait to kill it with our Master Yi Honed. So very important to have an early drop against Annie. Defy is at a premium against them. Discipline and On Guard are not at a premium in my opinion because they have things like Rebuke, Fight or Flight to kind of mess that up. If you back them up with a Defy, sure. But this doesn't hit Rebuke, which is also important to remember. Overall game plan, just get on the point and hold it as long as possible. Annie can come out aggressive, they can take points, fight or flights, but they generally run out of gas if you can just keep them from drawing cards. Like, protect that Zon Warrens as much as you can game one, and just keep them from drawing cards, and they'll run out of gas before you do. Especially if they end up killing like a Fey Folk, or you drew cards off Kiana, or they had to spend multiple cards to kill your Dead Bloom Predator. If we win game one, we're going to move to Targon's Peak. Again, sideboard, it looks very similar to how we sideboard against Kai'Sa. We're going to bring in the Rune Prisons and the Wind Wall. I'm going to take out the 2 Clockwork Keepers and the 2 White Flames. We don't need these to push in against Annie because they've got a bunch of big guys. And Clockwork Keepers, just, again, a necessary evil that I don't really want game one. Or I don't really want to draw it. I'm just in there, to cycle it late game, and I don't want to do that against Annie. Kiana is good against Annie for contesting points, drawing cards, channeling runes. Catalyst, good. Obviously, these are all good against Annie. We just want to get on a point and hold it to keep her from accruing 3 to 4 to 5 points early so we have enough time to play our big guys and stick them to a battlefield and not have them get fight or flighted or rebuke back to our hands. The other game where we're going second, Annie's not going to choose to go second, I don't think. We're going to have the Obelisk of Power. And it's going to be the same thing. We're going to take out Clockwork Keepers. But this time, I'm going to take out Shield Poros and the White Flames. And I'm going to bring in everything except for this last White Flame. I want the Sabotage, the Rune Prison, the Wind Walls. If I didn't mention it, Rune Prison's for the Vi combo. It just stuffs it. They try that Ride the Wind Vi shit. Rune Prison just punches them in the face and cripples that. Sabotage, a timely Sabotage to stop them from rebuking your big guy is usually game winning. The only thing that I find interesting in the Annie matchup that you could kind of maneuver around is, let's say I win game one. They are probably going to bring in Arena's Greatest. And you may or may not want them to have that 3 runes with Arena's Greatest. So you could audible to Targon's Peak, even though you're going second, game 2. And then game 3, when they don't have Arena's Greatest, you can bring in Obelisk of Power and then choose to go second. So you have 4 runes, and you can do the game plan of Kiana or Catalyst, which is what I end up doing against my Annie match. This is the only time you really want to swap these as far as a lot of the matches go. It's very corner case, but this is, if you think they're going to bring Arena's Glory and go first game 2, you want to have the Peak instead of the Obelisk because you don't want them to be able to go turn 1 sneaky deckhand with Arena Glory. It's just awful for you. All right, let's move on to the next matchup. All right, next we're going to talk about Sett. I'm not sure if Sett's actually still popular or not. I know it was popularized early on by being the Kai'Sa killer, but it kind of gets smushed by Annie, and it also kind of gets smushed by S. Honestly, Sett can't do much. You play your big guy, and you charm their big guy, and they just lose. Defy is incredible against them. It counters their Primal Mites, which is one of their big tricks against you. It counters their challenges. it just the matchup's just in general really bad for Sett in my opinion. We go over what they try to do and we do it faster. Like they try to gum up a point, like a bunch of tanky guys, they get an early lead, but we have things like Charm just like stop that strategy in its tracks. That you take the other point with your Master Yi honed, charm something over, drop a white flame, gank for 16. They can't stop you. They have Hidden Blade, sure, but we also have Defies. We have Zanyas. So I mean, it's not free over. It's not free by any means, but it is pretty strong in our favor. As far as sideboard is concerned, if we're going second, I take out Clockwork Keepers and the 2 Poros, and I bring in the 3 Rune Prisms and the White Flame. White Flame being able to bust a point is just so good in this matchup. If we go first, I took out the 2 Clockwork Poros, and then I'm feeling kind of spicy. I'll take out Zanyas, put in the 3 Rune Prisms. If I'm not feeling spicy, I'll take out 2 Poros and something like a Kiana, because it's just not really important to the overall game plan. It just kind of depends how much removal I think they're playing. The set list very widely, and Zanya's is not as good against all of them, but that's just like a spicy take. In general, I think taking out 2 Clockworks and 2 Kiana is where you want to be. It just depends how my opponent played and how I think the game's going to go based on that. But overall, Sett's a really easy matchup, and you just play your battlefields the same way, and there's just not much they can do. All right, the next matchup we're going to talk about is Viktor. Now, going into this skirmish, I had not played a Viktor. I went to Houston. I played Nexus Knights. I had not played against a good Viktor yet. So I was kind of bumbling through it. But I think the game plan is generally the same. You want to score an early point with your Shield Poro in game 1. Valmal's Lair is, again, good against Viktor because it can stick a token. I guess it's not that great against Viktor. Sticking a token is not that great. Valmal's Lair and sticking a unit is just good in general for you because you get essentially to kill that unit for free, but that's beside the point. Defies at a premium against Viktor, stops Hidden Blade, stops Call of the Week, stops them from killing your big guys early. Other than that, use Charm to kill their important pieces, their Cruel Patrons, which is how they break through you. It'll kill their chosen champion Victors so they can't create additional tokens. The biggest thing to watch out for is the Grand Stratagem because Defy does not stop it. And generally, it'll take a pump spell to even trade with 2 of their guys. So that's the big thing. You got to keep them from taking too much of an early lead. That way, that they can't Grand Stratagem you, take the points, and hold for a win. Other than that, the matchup was pretty straightforward. I brought in Sabotage and Windwall and took out the Clockwork Keepers and the Shield Poros when I went second, mainly because I wanted to hit the Grand Stratagem or the Imperial Decree or counter the Grand Stratagem and Imperial Decree. When I went first, I took out the White Flame Protectors and 1 Clockwork Keeper, the Clockwork Keepers for the Sabotage and the Wind Walls, and I kept the Poros in because I don't really feel you need the White Flame Protectors pushed through when you're going first, especially when you have the Poros. Other than that, Viktor's pretty straightforward. Zanya's at a premium, so you can save your big guys if they try to Hidden Blade or Cold a Week, and Kiana's also pretty good as an early threat just to keep them from building up too much momentum. Overall, Viktor's pretty straightforward. They're just going to try to kill your guys, and you're just going to try to take points early. Not much to it other than having Windwall to counter a really important spell like a Grand Stratagem. Alright, now let's talk about the Boogeyman for Yi. I think the Aurora decks are tough because they generally go over you if they draw Aurora. We're going to include the Yi Aurora, MF Aurora, Garen Aurora, the Bear, Volley Bear Aurora in this list. The overarching theme of the matchup itself is if they get Aurora, they're going to get ahead of you, right? Even if you play a big guy first, like a Fey Folk, they play Aurora, now they're on parity, and next turn they're getting ahead. So the way we're going to win through that is we're going to play our early guys. This is the only matchup I feel like I'm keeping Clockwork Keeper in because you need early drops to take early points. And you're going to score early, and then get some big guys down, and hopefully by the time they get Aurora out, you can pick off their first guy with Charm, or if it's a Dead Bloom Predator, you can defend your guy with Discipline or On Guard, killing it, or making sure, at least you get a trade. That way they're not gaining any kind of ground. And if their second guy, is Mind Splitter and you have 2 charms in your hand, then you kill that and the game is over. Overall, you're just trying to race them. Your early drops are important here. As far as battlefields and sideboarding is concerned, Valmal's Lair game 1 is fine. Game 2 is where it gets tricky. If you win game 2, I will generally bring in my Targon's Peak in this matchup because I don't want them to have Obelisk going second. So I'll pick Peak, and if they put me second, which they will generally, that's fine. And if I lose that game, I'll have Obelisk, so I'll have the chance to go second and be on 4 runes and execute my Catalyst Kiana plan. As far as sideboarding is concerned, you want to bring in 3 Sabotages. Rune Prison acts as like charms 1, 2, and 3, so I don't typically need it as much. I like Sabotages and the White Flame Protector. I'll generally take out the Kianas unless I'm in the Obelisk, and then I'll take out the Clockwork Keepers and the Stalwart Portal because these are interchangeable when I'm on 4 runes. Turn 1, obviously, I'd rather drop a Kiana than one of these guys because that can help me draw cards and accelerate my game plan. Overall, not a great matchup. Just defy their Catalyst, or if you really think you have to, save a Defy to counter their Bullet Time on Misfortune. I don't think that's that important. Save Defy for their Catalyst, stall them for a turn or 2, get some early points, and then just hope you can win in the late game. That's pretty much it for the Aurora. I don't have much experience against it, but the matches I have played, that's what I did, and I won every time, even though I consider it a difficult matchup. As far as the mirror is concerned, if you play the mid-range E mirror, let's say we're the same 40 cards, just draw better. There's really not much to it. I will say the maneuvering again is going to come down to the battlefields. You want to start Valmal's Lair. Doesn't do anything. Very neutral in this matchup. If you lose game 1, switch to Obelisk so you can do the I go second, have 4 runes. Catalyst into my big guys because that is a winning formula. If you win game 1, switch the Peaks. That way they can't see your Obelisk and choose to steal it from you. I know that's, they might not do that, or they may play their own Obelisk, but it's just kind of a chess match, and not everyone uses this for that reason, but you just want to make sure they don't have the 4 rune opportunity. As far as sideboard is concerned, I bring in White Flames and Rune Prisons. Generally take out Clockwork Keepers and Kianas unless I have Obelisk. And in that case, it's Clockwork Keepers and things like the Stalwart Poros. Pit Rookie makes your guys 1 bigger, which is important for the break points, of course. Not much to the mirror, just draw better. Outplay your opponent, get big guys first, and generally you win. Get them first or get more of them. Alright guys, that's all the matchups I'm going to do for this Yi mid-range list. If there's anything specifically you want to learn, we will be offering coaching here pretty soon. I've checked with my partners on when we're going to get that up. But we're going to try to get some free guides up on Metafy. That's not paid. That's free guides up on Metafy. The only thing we're going to be charging for is coaching, of course. Obviously, if you want to wait till we get some credentials in Riftbound, I have no problem with that. Our credentials are in other card games, not Riftbound yet. We may be terrible at this game. But yeah, that's the video. This is William Craddock, Will2Win, making my first video for Millennial TCG. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, make sure you comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Peace.